Kevin Durant, arguably one of the greatest players to ever pick up a basketball to ever live. Yet, I feel as if when people discuss his career and his legacy, there's a lot of disrespect put in there. So today I want to just go over 3 lies that you've been told about him as a player and also about his career. And the first one is going to be that he could not win a championship with Russell Westbrook. I understand where the narrative comes from. Obviously, he left OKC, but you guys got to understand what it actually takes to win a championship, right? You don't just win a championship because you have Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. You need a full team to win a championship, not just 2 good players, right? So let's look at the year that they made it to the finals against the Heat. Now, that was still when James Harden was coming off the bench, so that's not the James Harden that we knew in as a Rocket. That's not the James Harden we knew, on the Nets, the 76ers, none of that, right? That was back when he was still 6-man. Granted, he was still good, but, that's not the same James Harden that we knew later. But let's just go ahead and go over the starters. We had Russell Westbrook, we had Kevin Durant, we had Serge Ibaka, and we had Kendrick Perkins, and, of course, Thabo Sefolosha. Now, I'll give you a stat that will paint the picture of what the starting 5 for the Thunder looked like trying to compete against the Miami Heat. So in terms of points scored by the starters in Game 4, you had one player who scored 43 points, another player who scored 28 points, and then the other 3 starters scored 5 or less points. Now, the player who scored 43 was, of course, Russell Westbrook. The 28 points came from Kevin Durant, and then you had 5 from Thabo Sefolosha, 4 from Serge Ibaka, and 4 from Kendrick Perkins. So this idea that he couldn't win a championship with Russell Westbrook, I think it's pointing the finger in the wrong direction. It's not that Russell was a bad player. Yes, there was obviously pros and cons to Russell's game, but in full honesty, it's not him. It's just the fact that they've never done a good job surrounding them with all the pieces that they would need to win a championship. When you look at any of the recent championship rosters over the last decade, go 2 decades, who had such glaring weaknesses at all the other positions outside of their 2 main guys? I can't think of one, honestly. Then let's just go to another year, right? Let's go ahead and look at the last year that he played with OKC. That'd be over there in 2016, right? So I'm going to name the starting 5 here. We had Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, Steven Adams, and Andre Roberson. Now, 3 of these players are still routinely not known for scoring output, so you're leaning so heavily on what Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant to actually put up damn near all the points. So again, it's not that he couldn't win a championship with Russell Westbrook. It's just that nobody actually could have won with this starting 5. Who could you have traded Russell Westbrook for and actually have done better? You can switch him out with some of your guys' favorite point guard, Stephen Curry, and that roster is still not winning a championship. You're not winning a championship with Steven Adams, Andre Roberson, Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry. That's just not a winning roster. So this narrative that keeps pointing the finger at Russ, saying that he left OKC because he could not win with Russ, like I said, it's just pointing the finger in the wrong direction. This was an organizational problem as well as a team problem with a team that was not built to win a championship. And that leads me to my second lie that you guys have been told, which is that Kevin Durant needed Stephen Curry. Again, just false when you consider what we know about basketball. So Kevin Durant, again, being at near the top of his game, going to go join the Warriors, obviously was a weak move. Everyone's talked about it, this, that, the other. But it's not that he needed Stephen Curry. To be honest, he could have went to any other team that was halfway built decent and won a championship. He just happened to pick the wrong team to join. 73-9, maybe not the team that you want to join if you're trying to make a statement. But again, when he got there, it's not like he rode the back seat. He was the driver of that bus, and he drove that bus very well. I mean, he had 2 of the best years of his career, finals MVPs, both the years that they won the championship. It's not, if anything, I mean, considering the fact the Warriors recruited him, it's almost, up for debate whether maybe it was that Stephen Curry needed Kevin Durant. Again, I know some of you guys might hear that and say, oh, well, Stephen Curry had a ring before that, but, a lot of people obviously already discount that ring due to the, struggles of the health of the Cavs in the very following year when it's a healthy team versus a healthy team. Well, boom, there you go. They lose the 3-1, right? So it's arguable to say that Kevin Durant needed Stephen Curry. You can make the same arguments the other side and say, dang, why were they out there recruiting someone like that? I know who the heck wouldn't be recruiting Kevin Durant, but if you're rooting for Kevin Durant, it just feels weird to say that he needed you. You know what I mean? Now that leads me to the third lie you've been told about Kevin Durant, and that has everything to do with his Nets stint. So if you actually recall how that all went down, and his actual personal play and his personal way of handling business while he was there, it's pretty much as perfect as you could have imagined. So in terms of his actual play, as long as he was playing, he was putting up numbers and putting up buckets, right? Regardless of what was around him, he was doing his job. In the very beginning, with all the issues regarding Kyrie, that was already a tough issue there. Then you go into the COVID year. Now Kyrie's part-time. James Harden doesn't, like this and all the issues around that. They bring back Kyrie. The entire time, Kevin Durant was balling. Kevin Durant was playing phenomenal. And then you get to the playoffs and, Kyrie can't play. Then you've got the fact that James Harden is hurt. And what does Kevin Durant do? He puts on, if not one of the greatest single-man performance that I've seen in any level of a playoffs game. I mean, it was just phenomenal what he was doing against the Bucks, who later went on to win the championship. If not for his toe being on that line, it is pretty much clear that they would have won the championship that year, and that's without his second or third best player on that team. He did everything he needed to do. Then you come into the last year of his time there. They've traded out James Harden. Now you got Ben Simmons, who's not playing, and all the issues regarding there. You've got Kyrie Irving, his issues with obviously the whole, Twitter thing or whatever. You've got all these issues still coming around. And what does Kevin Durant do? Continue to ball, continue to keep the Nets in first place in the East. And then he gets hurt, minor injury. And at that time is when they fell out of first. I mean, this dude literally carried the team on his back time in and time out. When you consider the fact that he ended up requesting a trade, again, why wouldn't you? Your back is hurting, man. You carried that franchise on your back for years at that point, and it didn't seem like it was going to get any better. I don't blame him. Now, with all that being said, I really just want to focus back in on all three of those for a quick second. So no, he did not leave OKC because he could not win with Russ. It's because nobody could have won with Russ. He did not need Stephen Curry for a championship. He needed to have a team around him that could actually play winning basketball. It's not because Stephen Curry himself is so great. It's because almost any other team would have had a better starting five for him to be playing on. Any team would have recruited him. Every team wanted Kevin Durant at that point. It's not that he needed Stephen Curry. He just needed to have a team that could actually play some basketball. And then, of course, when it comes to the Nets, he did not fail the Nets. He did everything he was supposed to. He played his ass off while he was on the Nets. And with all that being said, of course, if you guys disagree, of course, drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe. We'll continue posting more of this. And, of course, I appreciate you guys for listening. Peace.